It's not your typical grade 7 assignment. Design a digital book on an iPad, complete with a storyline, sound and animation.
We have some animations, so you can move things, and if you touch things, they'll move and spin around and everything, which is quite fun if you're a little kid with things moving. Also, we have someone talking, so if they don't want to read, someone will read it for them. So if you press a button, the page will be read to you.
The people there finally found an antidote.
It's a scary proposition for some parents. With textbooks now available on tablets like the iPad, and schools developing different ways for their children to learn and play. But one Johannesburg school says rather than replace all other learning material, the iPad is a valuable tool in the teaching process.
So the teacher would book the iPad, would conceive of a lesson they want to do on the iPads, would practice it and try it out on their own iPad, and then would book the iPads for using at a particular time. One English teacher, for example, was teaching poetry. The poem describes a dissection of a rat. We don't dissect rats in biology at that age, but there's an app where you can pretend to dissect a rat. So she got the children to practice dissecting the rat before they did the poem, and then the poem made a lot more sense to them.
Sacred Heart College started using iPads in the classroom more than 3 years ago, introducing the tablet to their preschoolers first.
Little children struggle. One of the big steps in their learning process is learning to cross the midline, learning to cross from left and right. And you can imagine the same is true in a vertical way. They have to learn to cross a vertical line as well. So if you work with a little one in a computer, that little one is working with a keyboard and a mouse that's down here, but the action's happening up there. And we've resisted putting technology like that into the preschool because it just doesn't make sense. When the iPads came out, they made perfect sense to us because it's a tactile experience. Where you touch is where the thing happens. And I've watched a 2-year-old go from never having used one to being proficient in 3 or 4 different apps in less than half an hour.
At this age, it's more about learning through play. What the iPad offers these preschoolers is a new way of doing just that.
All teaching and all learning in the pre-primary is really incidental. I mean, you know, we look for opportunities of teaching through play. So we would then possibly look at our apps. You know, for our older children, we've got numeracy apps, and if specific kids are having difficulties with specific things, we'll look for those apps.
The benefits of using this kind of technology in the classroom are clear. But with the basic education department still battling to get the basics right, it's unlikely that South Africa's government school pupils will experience the advantages anytime soon.
I think there's some schools that are adopting the technologies. There's some schools that are way out in the rural areas and don't even have labs or connectivity. So I think we need to look at the inequalities at the same time as we look at the solutions. It's not to say let's hold back from the solutions, but it is to say there may well be problems that we hadn't thought of. And the biggest problem is making sure that all kids get equal access.
But it's not always smooth sailing for the country's more privileged schools either.
It can be pretty and it can make all sorts of fun noises, but if it's not actually resulting in children learning in a structured, cumulative, integrated way, then it's just fun, then it's just a game, then it's not actually education. So I think that the challenge is, until the teachers themselves adopt the technologies and are themselves proficient in the technologies and comfortable with the technology in their classrooms, you will get only very limited success.
So, as some schools and pupils reap the benefits of becoming more techno-savvy, The challenge is how to ensure the disadvantaged majority don't fall yet another step behind. Michelle Craig, Johannesburg.